Have you ever noticed how the sharpest pain doesn't come from strangers, but from the people we let close? A careless word from someone you love, a betrayal from a friend, or even silence when you needed support. It stays with you. It replays at night when the world is quiet, and you ask yourself, why can't I just move on? Why does this still hurt? Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychologist, would say it's because of something deeper than memory. It's not just about what they did to you. It's about what they awakened inside you. You see, Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden part of ourselves that we don't always like to face. This shadow holds our anger, resentment, jealousy, and our deepest fears. It's the side of us we pretend isn't there, the side we often deny. When someone hurts you, they don't just bruise your heart, they wake up your shadow. Betrayal, for example, doesn't only break trust. It whispers, maybe I'm not worthy of loyalty. Maybe I can't rely on anyone. Rejection doesn't only push you away. It screams, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm unlovable. That's why the wound lingers. Because it's not just about them. It's about what they stirred in you. The hidden fears and doubts that suddenly came rushing to the surface. Think about it. Have you ever been rejected by someone and then felt like every part of you was being judged, not just by them, but by yourself? That's the shadow speaking. Jung believed that until we face these hidden parts of ourselves, they will keep haunting us. And here's the curious thing. The more you try to ignore it, the louder it becomes. This is why pain doesn't just go away with time. Time doesn't heal all wounds. Awareness does. Facing the shadow does. Otherwise, years later, you'll still feel that sting when you hear their name, see their photo, or pass the place where it all happened. And before we move forward, let me tell you, what we're diving into today could change the way you look at every hurt you've ever carried. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Because together we're going to explore Jung's wisdom in a way that not only helps you let go of the person who hurt you, but also transforms the pain into power. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now here's the part that stings a little. Most of us don't just get hurt. We hold on to it. We replay the arguments in our head. We scroll through their social media to see if they're happy without us. We imagine the apology they should have given. And in doing this, we keep the wound fresh, like scratching a cut that's trying to heal. Carl Jung once said, what you resist persists. Think about that for a second. The more you resist the truth of what happened, the more you keep wishing it was different, the more the pain grows roots inside you. It doesn't loosen, it tightens. Picture this. You're carrying a heavy bag of rocks. Every time you think of them, every time you replay the scene, you add another rock to the bag. And instead of putting it down, you carry it everywhere. Work, family gatherings, even to bed at night. No wonder you feel exhausted. You're not just living your life. You're dragging the past with you. But here's something fascinating from Jung's perspective. The psyche actually recycles pain on purpose. It's like your mind keeps bringing it back, not to torture you, but to push you to face it. The hurt keeps returning because the lesson hasn't been learned yet. Once you see the shadow it awakened, once you face the fear or insecurity behind the pain, the mind doesn't have to keep replaying it anymore. Yet most of us stay in the trap. We confuse holding on with protecting ourselves. We think, if I keep this hurt close, I'll never let it happen again. But in reality, holding on just keeps us stuck in the same loop. You're not protecting yourself. You're imprisoning yourself. And this is where Jung's path of individuation comes in. Individuation is about becoming whole, about growing into the person you were meant to be. And you cannot do that while chained to the past. Every moment you hold on to resentment, you're choosing the past over the present. Letting go isn't about erasing what happened. It's about finally stepping out of yesterday so you can live today. So I want you to reflect for a moment. Are you carrying rocks that don't belong to you anymore? Are you giving free rent in your mind to someone who has already walked away? If so, it's time to ask yourself, what would my life feel like if I set it down, even just for a moment? Stay with me, because in the next part we'll uncover how to actually shift your perspective, how to see the pain differently, not as something that broke you, but as something that shaped you. And trust me, you'll want to hear this, because it just might be the missing piece you've been waiting for. So don't forget to subscribe and keep watching, because the transformation starts when we go deeper. Now here's a perspective that might surprise you, and comes straight from Carl Jung's way of looking at life. He believed that every single experience we go through, whether it lifts us up or breaks us down, carries meaning for the soul. Nothing is wasted, not even heartbreak, not even betrayal, not even the silence of someone who walked away when you needed them most. So let me ask you something. What if the person who hurt you wasn't just a villain in your story, but also a mirror reflecting something you needed to see inside yourself? Maybe they brought up a wound you'd buried for years. Maybe they forced you to face the truth about your own fears, your boundaries, or even your worth. It's uncomfortable to think about and know. We want to see pain as something that just happened to us. But Jung would say, pain is not just an accident. Pain is a teacher. It arrives to shake us, to wake us up, to demand that we grow in ways comfort never could. Think about it. Strength is rarely built in easy times. Self-awareness doesn't come when life is smooth. It comes when life cracks us open and we're forced to look at what's really inside. That betrayal? It may have been the moment you finally realize your worth is not defined by someone else's loyalty. That rejection? It may have been the doorway to discovering that you are whole, even when someone else doesn't choose you. Letting go doesn't begin with pretending it never happened. It begins with one powerful question. What is this pain trying to teach me? Because once you learn the lesson, the hurt doesn't control you anymore. It transforms you. And here's the beauty. You don't have to figure it all out in one night. Sometimes the meaning unfolds slowly, piece by piece. But if you stay open, the pain that once broke, you can become the very thing that remakes you. So stay with me, because next we're going to talk about facing the shadow head on, the very part of yourself that holds the key to true freedom. And trust me, you'll want to hear this. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because what comes next could shift the way you see yourself forever. Let's be honest, when someone hurts us, our first instinct is to point the finger outward. They did this. They betrayed me. They broke me. And yes, their actions matter. But Carl Jung would tell you, if you truly want to let go, you must also turn inward, because the real work doesn't happen out there. It happens inside. Jung developed methods like active imagination, dream analysis, and deep self-reflection to uncover the hidden truths of the unconscious. Why? Because so much of what controls us, our fears, our triggers, our wounds, lives in the shadows of our mind. And unless we bring them into the light, they keep running the show from behind the curtain. Here's a simple example. Instead of endlessly blaming the person who hurt you, pause and notice what you actually feel in your body. Rage? Fear? Longing? That wave of jealousy you'd rather deny? Those emotions are the doorway. When you face them instead of avoiding them, you reclaim your power. Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. Think about that. If you don't face your shadow, you end up repeating the same stories, attracting the same kinds of people, and reliving the same pain until you finally stop and look inward. And let me be clear. Facing a shadow doesn't mean excusing what they did. It doesn't mean saying it's fine or they were right. Forgiveness in Jung's sense isn't about erasing their actions. It's about refusing to let the wound control you anymore. It's saying, yes, this happened. Yes, it hurt. But I choose to no longer give it power over my life. This kind of inner work isn't easy, but it's life-changing. And the moment you glimpse the shadow, something incredible happens. You stop seeing yourself as a victim, and you start seeing yourself as a creator of your own story. So if this is resonating with you, stay with me, because next we'll talk about something fascinating. The invisible threads that keep you tied to the person who hurt you, even when they're not around. And trust me, you don't want to miss this part. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't lose the thread of this journey. Pun intended. Carl Jung had this idea of psychic energy. The idea that our thoughts and emotions aren't just floating around. They're like fuel. Wherever you place your attention, that's where your energy flows. So here's the truth. When you think constantly about the person who hurt you, when you replay what they said, when you stalk their social media, you're literally feeding them your energy. You're tied to them by invisible threads. It's as if you're still in a relationship with them. Only this one lives in your mind. That's why you feel drained, even if they're miles away. That's why the wound feels fresh months or even years later, because your energy is still flowing toward them. So how do you let go? You start by pulling your energy back. You withdraw your attention. You stop feeding the wound. This doesn't mean you'll never think of them again. That's unrealistic. But it does mean you catch yourself in the loop and gently choose something else. Here are a few ways to do it. Journaling. When your mind spins, pour it out on paper. Don't censor yourself. Let the energy move from your heart to the page. Meditation. Sit quietly. Notice when their image arises. And imagine releasing it like a cloud drifting away. Creating, paint, write, build, cook. Channel the energy into something that makes you come alive. And here's a powerful exercise Jungians often recommend. Close your eyes and picture the invisible thread that connects you to that person. See it clearly in your imagination. Then, thank it for the lesson it brought you. Yes, even if it was painful, because that pain shaped you. And then, with gentleness but certainty, imagine yourself cutting that thread. Feel the release. Feel your energy flowing back into your own body, your own life. That's freedom. Because the moment you stop feeding them, you start feeding yourself. You reclaim your psychic energy, and suddenly the grip they had on you weakens. You don't forget the story, but you're no longer trapped in it. And the best part? Once you cut those invisible threads, you have the strength to weave new ones, to dreams, to passions, to people who actually deserve your love. So keep watching, because in the next part, we'll explore what comes after the release, how to rebuild the self, and why Jung believed that our scars don't make us weaker. They make us whole. If this message is hitting home for you, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell, because we're only just getting to the most powerful part of this journey. After someone hurts you, it can feel like your whole self has been shattered into pieces. You look in the mirror and wonder, who am I now? Am I the same person I was before this happened? Or am I broken beyond repair? Carl Jung believed that moments like these aren't the end of your story. They are invitations to something deeper. He called it individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole. And here's the secret. Individuation often begins in the rubble, when life, as you knew it, has cracked open. The first step is accepting what happened, not in a way that excuses it, but in a way that stops denying it, saying to yourself, yes, this hurt. Yes, it changed me, but I refuse to run from the truth of it. Acceptance is the foundation of healing. The second step is recognizing the growth it sparked. Maybe it forced you to build boundaries you never had before. Maybe it made you value your own worth in a way you used to ignore. Maybe it opened your eyes to what real love or friendship should look like. Growth doesn't erase the pain, but it gives it purpose. And the third step is integrating the lesson into your life story. Instead of seeing yourself as broken, you begin to see yourself as transformed. The wound becomes part of your narrative, but it's not the whole story. Think of a scar. It doesn't vanish. You can still see it. But here's the thing. Scars are stronger than the skin that was there before. Where you were once broken, you're now reinforced. The hurt shaped you, but it doesn't define you. It strengthens you. Jung believed healing isn't about erasing the wound. It's about carrying it with wisdom. You become someone who says, this happened to me. Yes, but it did not destroy me. It built me. And if you're still here, listening, you're already in that rebuilding phase. You wouldn't be searching for meaning, for guidance, for Jung's wisdom, if some part of you wasn't ready to rise from the pain. So stay with me, because next we'll talk about a moment that confuses so many people. When the person who hurt you comes back asking for forgiveness. Should you let them in again? Let's dive into that. And if you haven't yet, subscribe now so you don't miss what might be the most important decision of all. Now, sometimes life throws you a twist. The very person who hurt you, the one who left scars on your heart, might return. They might text you, call you, or show up at your door asking for forgiveness. And in that moment, your heart and your mind may go to war. Carl Jung warned against blind forgiveness. Forgiveness, in his view, is not about erasing the past or pretending it didn't hurt. It's not weakness. It's a conscious choice. And it must come from awareness, not desperation. So what do you do when they come back? First, ask yourself, have they truly changed? Or are they just repeating the same pattern? Forgiveness doesn't mean giving them access to hurt you again. It means deciding with clarity whether reconciliation is possible, or whether the forgiveness needs to happen only inside of you. Sometimes reconciliation can happen. If both people have grown, if there's genuine accountability, a relationship, whether friendship, family, or love, can be rebuilt. But other times, the wisest act is to forgive them in your heart while keeping the door closed in your life. Because here's the truth. Your peace does not depend on their apology. Your healing doesn't wait for their words. Your freedom is in your own transformation. Forgiveness is less about them and more about you refusing to carry the poison any longer. So whether they come back or not, whether they apologize or not, you can still choose peace. You can still choose release. And in a moment, we'll wrap this journey with Jung's timeless message: why the deepest wounds often lead to the greatest growth. Stay with me until the end, because this is the part that ties everything together. And if this video has spoken to your soul, hit that subscribe button, because there's more wisdom ahead that you won't want to miss. As we come to the end of this journey through Carl Jung's wisdom, I want to leave you with something gentle but powerful. You are not powerless. No matter what has been done to you, no matter how deep the wound, you still hold the key to your own freedom. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, someone failed you, betrayed you, or walked away. But that does not mean you are forever bound to that pain. You have the power to step out of the cycle, to stop rehearsing the hurt and start reclaiming your life. So I want to invite you to reflect for just a moment. Who do you need to release today in order to reclaim your own soul, whose voice still echoes in your mind, whose shadow still follows you through the years? Imagine what your life could feel like if you finally set them down, not because they deserved it, but because you deserve peace. Remember, letting go is not weakness. It is strength. It is choosing yourself over the chains of the past. Carl Jung's message echoes across time. The greatest revenge is not hatred, but freedom. Thank you for walking through this with me. If this spoke to your heart, subscribe now so we can keep growing, healing, and transforming together.